this is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Ask my family doctor just what I had. I said, doctor, doctor, Mr. MD, doctor. Now can you tell me what's ailing me, doctor?
Good Friday, everyone. It is Dr. Politics and the Political Architecture. We've got Dr. Breacher, who is on from Earth 32. Welcome. And then in the dark is Dr. Thornton. Welcome, Jeff.
Having some technical difficulties, but hopefully he's on.
Let me see if I can't throw a picture in there.
I'm not sure if I trust you with old pictures of me.
Oh, yeah. That's like, let's see. Let's see if he'll let me do that. Maybe not. Anyways, good week. Did everyone have a nice Thanksgiving? Jeff, how was your Thanksgiving?
No, it was good. I got spend some time with family. So that was always good. How about you?
It was good. With my brothers, Ray, how was yours?
It is the most pointless holiday of the year, but I try to make some sense of it and enjoyed it. But
wow, Ray! It sounds like Ray's part of one of our. He's on the wrong side of one of our topics today.
I am. I really don't like this holiday. I think it should be banned. I don't agree with the BLM movement about whatever, some racist genocide holiday. I don't think it's that. I think it's just centered around this useless bird that we have to cross the country to go eat in unison with people and find some meaning to it. But I think it's completely pointless holiday.
I don't know. What do you call? I don't know. I like Thanksgiving. I think it's a worthwhile holiday. I think it's a uniquely American holiday. I mean, you travel the world, and they don't understand. I remember the first time I went to England, I was probably about 10, maybe 8. No, I think it was 10. And they basically said, we were asking about. I was asking them, hey, so what do you guys do for Thanksgiving? You go, what's Thanksgiving? I go, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It's an American holiday. It's we all get together, And the Canadians have Thanksgiving too, but theirs is Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, it's in October.
It's usually, I think we do Columbus Day is when they have their Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving. But it's not as glorious as ours is.
It's so commercialized here, and I think it's only made to be some kind of economic incentive to try to jumpstart the economy, I guess. I think it's the most pointless day.
Well, I don't know. It's glorify. What do you call point? I wouldn't say it's pointless, and I wouldn't say it's to boost the economy of any sort. But it is. I believe it is it's a good holiday, and I mean, Jeff, chime in. Your thoughts on on Thanksgiving? Ray thinks it's just I think it's more because it's inconvenient for Ray to rush to the airport on a Wednesday night and then fly back on a Sunday.
My family also lives in the middle of nowhere, so I would have to take 10,000 flights to get there and parachute and find somebody who. I think I've done it once in the past 15 years. Where I flew back and I spent it with family. I just don't. Again, it's one meal. It's one meal. I mean, I'd rather have American eat out night where you go to your favorite restaurant and you spend it with people you like. That would be nice. But the idea of having to indulge yourself in this one type of bird that's not really that particularly the greatest bird in the world. It's not very rare at all. And spend it with people and have this, kind of some proclamation of what we give thanks for. It's a Dollar General version of Christmas.
Dollar General version. You mean $1.25?
It was Biden's economy here.
Welcome to Joe Biden's economy when the dollar store is now starting to charge $1.05 for the holiday. It's $1.05, and I think it's $1.25, I should say, is what the holidays. Hey, and it's the miracle of
Hey,
modern technology. Welcome,
Yeah, I
Jeff.
just reloaded the site. So I
Okay,
don't know.
good. Yeah, we were talking about Thanksgiving, and Breacher here seems to think it's too much. It's too much of an inconvenience for Breacher to schlep to the airport and go to Idaho.
I think we could be more innovative with the
But isn't your
holidays.
family? Aren't you from Boise though, Breacher?
Yeah, yeah. I'm from Nampa, right outside Boise, but it's like I just think we could be more innovative. Like if you think of like holidays of all the holidays we could copy in the world. Like I know, like in Howard County, for example, they started celebrating like Diwali and Holi. I think those are cool holidays. Like
Hmm.
throwing paint on people is great. And spraying water on people. I love that idea.
Okay.
Fireworks. These are cool holidays. These are holidays that want to like just really want to like it makes it a lot of fun. The idea of sitting around and being lethargic all day because you're eating this horrible bird and watching these like crazy floaty things in New York, it just sounds terrible.
Hey, it's not just about the parades. Some people are watching the football games too.
I know, but it's even then, it's like I was like, ugh, like
Although I've stopped watching football since Colin Kaepernick decided to take a knee and the NFL went woke.
I went to the Washington football team game against Tampa Bay a few weeks back, and I absolutely my heart sank, and I thought people were mocking the thing because they were cheering, "Let's go football team," and they were just cheering football team, football, and I thought they were joking, but they literally were cheering football team, and I thought this is crazy. I mean, this is nuts. But it maybe it inspired me a little bit more to watch football than I previously did, but.
I really think they should be called the bureaucrats. They should be called the Washington bureaucrats.
There's it's a lack of. I mean, I think this country is so innovative and creative in things. Why does it take 2 years to decide on a name for a football team? You couldn't find. I mean, of all the swamp creatures,
You gotta run it by legal,
just
and then
call it the swamp creatures.
you gotta focus group it and make sure it doesn't offend anybody, because I'm sure bureaucrats would offend every civil servant in the DMV, calling themselves bureaucrats and having a red tape defense.
Multiple layers of clearance. We have to send it to the Office of General Counsel, and then eventually goes to OMB for
It's not like the old days, like,
Well,
Jeff.
remember
Yeah,
too that the baseball team used to be the Washington Bullets. Now, like
no, the basketball. It was the basketball team.
right, yeah,
The
they said the
Bullets.
best. I'm sorry, that's it, baseball. But yeah,
Yeah.
basketball team was used to be the Bullets. Now it's the Wizards. So it's yeah, I don't know. It's crazy how they change names like that.
Yeah.
If I can, I wasn't here then, but like, there's an elementary school here in Howard County that used to be called Whiskey Bottom Elementary, and I think that is the coolest name for an elementary school.
Mhm.
Just imagine the bumper stickers. I'm a proud parent of an honor student at Whiskey Bottom. I just think the coolest
So
thing.
do they
Well,
mean?
Whiskey Bottom is a road that's literally like 2 streets over from my house. So it's like, and I know Whiskey Bottom. That's just the name of the road.
There used to be an elementary school, I'm told.
I don't know if there's I didn't see one on Whiskey Bottom. That's next to a couple other schools though. So it's possible. I mean, Whiskey Bottom goes all the way to like Route 1.
Okay.
So it's a back road that when I go to like Sam's Club, I take Whiskey Bottom because it's a little bit less traveled.
I'm told it's changed names, but if it had to go back to a
So is the town no longer called Whiskey? Because there's also a town called Whiskey Bottom, which is where Whiskey Bottom Road runs through, and that town was also called Whiskey Bottom. And I think the name goes back to the Prohibition days.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think that's where it goes back.
Even more interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, political correctness. Like when Jeff and I were in high school, we had high school names like the Indians and the Warriors, and
Well, the Blair Devils. That's what where they're.
that is true. We had the Prince. We were the Blazers, and our mascot was the Prince of Darkness himself.
So my alma mater, this is before my time. This is in the 70s, where it was the Stanford Indians, and the Stanford Indians could no longer be, all the protests, after whatever the Alcatraz occupation for a while, and they changed their name to they changed it to Stanford Cardinal, which is basically a copy of Harvard Crimson, because it's not really, it's just a color. But then the mascot became the tree because Palo Alto. And so this kind of drugged out tree is what the mascot is. Whenever you go to a Stanford basketball game or a Stanford football team, you'll see these videos of this drugged out tree. It's usually the person the tree is always really high or drunk, and it just runs through the crowd. It's the coolest thing in the world. It makes you very proud to be a Stanford tree.
Is that what they're now? The tree? They're no longer even the Cardinals.
But the official mascot is Cardinal. It's a color, the cardinal, the color. But the unofficial mascot is the tree.
It's kind of like GW. Our official mascot is George Washington, the Colonials. But they want to now make the hippo is the unofficial mascot. Go Hippos, and they want to get rid of the colonial name at GW. They want to be known as the Hippos. Are they going to rename George Washington University to George University?
I would not be surprised.
But I mean, this whole political correctness has gone awry. I mean, back in the days, it's like I tell you, we kind of talked about this briefly a few days ago about how there's half the shows that we watched growing up. Well, Jeff and I, you're a little too young to probably remember most of those really politically incorrect shows, but they basically would not be allowed, they basically would be canceled. They would not be allowed to even air an episode, today. But I mean,
These had episodes of the Honeymooners where the guy used to raise his fist and say that, right? The kisser, like he would.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only that, like
you had on the, was it Alice where he said to the moon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the gal that played Alice, was it Alex or Trixie? One of them. Evidently, was the mother-in-law on the Ted Knight Show.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it was Trixie, the neighbor's wife, or maybe it Alice. One of them. She was the mother-in-law on the Ted Knight Show, and then she became a regular on the show.
I'm trying to think too. Was it Sanford and Son where Sanford was always trying to beat? I forget the son's name, but
Lamont.
Lamont, yes.
Lamont. You big dummy, And then you had, and then remember, he would always threaten to punch his sister-in-law Esther, who he also referred to as Godzilla. And Woodrow. I mean, back in those days, I think we had this conversation also a few days ago about hobos and tramps, and how nobody dresses up as hobos and tramps anymore because it's not politically correct. Because it used to be, a tramp was viewed as Charlie Chaplin was a tramp. That was his famous character that he did. Walking around that cane. But Charlie Chaplin was also a communist, though. But
well, if you believe everything in the McCarthy era, I guess.
I think he was pre-McCarthy era, wasn't he? Remember Charlie Chaplin was also the mascot for IBM back when we were growing up.
IBM Junior, yeah, PC Junior.
PC Junior, yeah. Then they had the cast of MASH when I guess IBM had a lot of money to spend. And they were pushing PS2s. But anyways, back to the liberals wanting to cancel Thanksgiving. I think it's Thanksgiving, as I was saying, is a uniquely American holiday. I know Ray is inconvenienced by having to fly on Thanksgiving, but I'm sorry, Breacher, I should say, not Ray.
If they had a direct flight, maybe I could reconsider Thanksgiving.
I mean, most schools in Florida, they got the entire week off for Thanksgiving because, as I was told, is because they all work really hard and they had no hurricane days. We're just going to give you the entire week off for Thanksgiving, which I've got no real problems with that either. Florida schools, they don't have a dumb mask mandate there.
Well, I don't think we're going to ever cancel Thanksgiving because it's much of a consumer holiday as it is a a memorial. So I think when I was having technical problems before, I was trying to say that thanks to Adam Ruins Everything, my thoughts of Columbus and all of the pioneers is a little bit tainted, but the thought is nice. I mean, if you think about what Thanksgiving, is memorializes, whether or not it was actually the
Yeah.
case or not. What it attempts to memorialize is kind of what Christmas memorializes. It's like it's family, it's goodwill, it's being thankful for what we have, spending time with family, kind of overindulging a little bit in food and such. But it's become kind of a traditional, families get together again, and as we are a more diverse culture, and as kids tend to
Mhm.
um, go further and further away for school and other reasons, society has changed, and I think it's just good
Uh,
to have a time where we actually just focus on the family and say, okay, we're gonna spend time together and just
See,
even without the food, just spend time and enjoy each other's
I don't,
company.
yeah. I don't know if you guys ever did drama or anything like that. I never did drama, but they would always do the play ahead of time, and they'd always be to like the local elementary school would come to the high school and they'd watch the play. They wouldn't. It wouldn't be. That'd be kind of like the dress rehearsal. Thanksgiving is kind of a dress rehearsal for Christmas, pretty much. It's a dress rehearsal for Christmas.
Well, yeah, I mean, Black Friday is kind of, I don't know when that whole tradition started, but even if I know the the name of Black Friday was is obviously taken from back when they had the bubonic plague, but
Actually, no. Actually, it's basically it's from the retailers.
well, the Black
And
Friday, the initial name of the Black Friday, not
yeah,
the common, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's because there's been so many cases of people just trampling over each other that it's just like nobody wants to go out at all on Friday because it's such a crazy um,
Yeah.
you know, mass hysteria of just people trying to get specials. So obviously, since then we've had Cyber Monday as kind of a stay-at-home alternative to Black Friday,
Yeah.
and
Well,
now.
today Black Friday, I did a lot of the stuff. I did a lot. I did everything online today. Actually, the stuff I bought it online. Got the
Well, I was
same
going to say is
deals.
that a lot of companies have been doing these pre-Black Friday specials, and I heard, for example, and I didn't apparently sign up quick enough, but like Walmart on Monday was having a pre-Black Friday special where if you sign up for the Walmart Plus, you had a chance to actually get in line for the PS5, which I'm still trying to get. So
Oh wow.
I just missed that, but they actually had apparently some in stock, but you had to sign up for the Walmart Plus um, program, get in line, and then you'd be eligible to get it. And obviously, it sold out within less than a day. So,
Yeah. I got a
but
pretty
anyway,
sweet.
the point is that people kind of keep on moving things further and further into before Thanksgiving. So it's like, I remember even Halloween. We're still seeing you know Christmas decorations and candies and stuff like that all around Halloween. I'm like, when was the last time this happened? So
I know. I tell you, when I was in Florida in September, the Macy's had Christmas trees up in Florida in September, and I'm like, this is way too soon. It's like
yeah.
it's one season at a time. Ago, I remember I was joking around with one of the salespeople at Macy's. I go, "Where's your Columbus Day decoration?" Because it was after Labor Day. I go, "Shouldn't you have Columbus Day decorations?" But if I memory serves me, when I was a kid, they used to do have Columbus Day decorations. They have little ships and stuff like that. Ship graphics. They'd have Columbus Day sales and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They don't do that anymore. They don't. They do Indigenous people. They don't even do an Indigenous Peoples Day sale, frankly. One, I don't think it's marketable. It's kind of hard to. That doesn't roll off as well as Columbus Day sale.
Yeah, I do
And
remember we had the Labor Day sales, then we had the Columbus Day sales, then we had after that the Black Friday sales. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about Columbus Day sales at all this year.
and it's like car dealerships they would always do. They do that with Columbus Day was always a big weekend for them to sell cars.
Well,
And
is that when they start the new model year?
yeah, yeah,
On
October, yeah. And was it Rosenthal that did the Columbus Day 500, where they try and sell 500 cars in the week, of course, across the weekend? And a lot of these holidays are falling victim of political correctness. Frankly, I still call Columbus Day. We still celebrate we celebrate Columbus Day. We go out and have Italian food. I know Delegate Nino Maggiano of Baltimore County. He is a big proponent of Columbus Day, and as long as we have people like him in the state house, Maryland will still have Columbus Day in the state.
They don't have statues. There was a headline in USA Today. I think it was on Tuesday. Headline was, "What is Thanksgiving to Indigenous People? A day of mourning."
Yeah,
uh,
something that's real. I find it really offensive when they say stuff like that. Thanksgiving does not mean it's not. Here's the thing. Thanksgiving was when they shared. If you ever listen to the back when Rush did the true story of Thanksgiving, it's where they basically sat down and kind of shared the bountiful foods with the natives, and they basically, that's Thanksgiving, and President Lincoln is the one that made it an official holiday, and that was more to unify the country after the Civil War, and there's a whole lot of traditions of, in the South, Thanksgiving, before, what do you call, when Lincoln made it a federal holiday, in the South, I believe they decided to celebrate just because Lincoln made it a holiday, they had their Thanksgiving either a week earlier or a week after ours. And it wasn't until after the Civil War, much after the Civil War, and there's a lot of food recipes that are like white potato pie, which is an Eastern Shore thing, which is just like sweet potato pie, but it's with white potatoes they use.
What is like russet potatoes or?
Yeah, Cody Leach, if you're watching, tell us.
Mashed potato pie.
Yeah, it's basically like take mashed potatoes, make them sweet, and pour them in a pie tin, and you're done.
Yeah, I also do sweet potatoes.
And in the South, it was always pecan pie, But we had that argument with our friend Jackie Saxton, pecan or pecan, and it's pecan, I think, or as Captain Admiral Kirk would say, pecan,
Pecan.
Yes, exactly. But Thanksgiving should not be canceled. I think Thanksgiving is a great holiday. It is, it brings families together. It also teaches you how to get along with family members, because you're all sitting at the table. You always have that crazy uncle who basically is too stupid and shouldn't be allowed to talk, frankly, but has the tendency of opening up his mouth and saying something stupid. And, Thanksgiving is how you learn just to ignore that. You don't ever respond to it.
Do we really need a government holiday to tell us how to get along with our families?
No. It's a byproduct. It's
a such a Hallmark, Lifetime movie. I just need Dolly Parton to come in and remind me what the spirit of Thanksgiving is. It's just so cheesy. It's one cheap bird with a bunch of cheap side dishes and an excuse for people to get together and get day drink and watch some boring ass parade. It doesn't strike me as.
Hey, you could also watch the Everybody Loves Raymond marathon too. You didn't have to watch the boring parade. You could watch Everybody Loves Raymond marathon.
I was going the article that USA Today where they mentioned this. So I started reading it, and mind you, my grandparents, my dad's parents were fluent in Purépecha, which is an indigenous Indian language in central Mexico.
Were they Aztec?
It's not really. It's more Aztec. It's a derivative of one of those languages. The Aztecs were not from central Mexico; they came from Arizona, so they're the kind of the.
But Tenochtitlan is where Mexico City is.
No, they settled there, but they were not from there, so they kind of moved southwest. They moved from the southwest down to the south. Mm-hmm. And so my mom's family from Sonora, and my mom's grandmother were indigenous. So they're it's in the blood. But I'm reading this cheesy story. What is Thanksgiving to indigenous people? A day of mourning. And I'm like, this is dumb. And then there's one line that stood out to me. This year, Julie is not celebrating Thanksgiving, and instead organizing an event on Native American Heritage Day called Thanks for the Kids, which celebrates Native children. And I just figured there's probably nothing that I probably hate more than Thanksgiving than kids.
Oh man, Dr. Breesher.
Aren't you are they become Republicans?
Maybe that's how it works on Earth 32, Breacher.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older than most of the people, but it's like I think anyone who's less than 30.
So Breacher's one of those millennials.
I probably am. I'm so I don't know. I guess like the holidays. I'm not a big fan of them because I just think that they're so. Like, again, it's not so much that they're commercialized, it's just that they're so cheesy and they're so non-inventive. It's just been
Well,
done.
yeah, but that's just part of how things have derived over the years. I mean, if you think about, even like most of our holidays, even like the 4th of July. I mean, you think about what's it really mean? I mean, yes, it celebrates the independence, but most people, to your point about like day drinking, they do the trailer park. I mean, not trailer park, but they do um uh,
Okay,
the one I'm saying, the tailgate parties, and they'll have like they'll
it's
do all the
celebrates.
drinking, and they'll have like set up the fireworks in the backyard and stuff, and it means something different to each person. But I think again, what it tries to memorialize is the spirit of like what made the holiday special. So yeah, Thanksgiving in practice doesn't always work out very well, just like Christmas doesn't always work out very well from a practical standpoint, because again, it's all about buying gifts. But when it comes to the spirit of it, you think about why do we celebrate Christmas, why do we celebrate these holidays? There is a good reason for that, even if it's not you know recognized by everyone who participates, or chooses not to participate in some cases.
And moving on from our wonderful Black Friday and Thanksgiving great holidays, would you like it if we called it Moco Day? The celebrating Howard County Day. Or,
Absolutely, absolutely. The
would
greatest
that
county in the
make you
world.
happier if we did Howard County Day instead?
God's country day. God, a day to celebrate God's country.
The stock. I don't know if you guys heard the stock market almost lost 1,000, close to 1,000 points today.
No, I hadn't
Was
heard that.
Yeah, it went down like 900 points. Today, which is
What was the reason for that?
if what I say. Hey, that means time to buy tomorrow, Monday morning. Time to buy.
Was
But
there a certain market that burst or something, or what happened?
I think the South African variant of COVID that's supposed to be more contagious. It set off airline industries. Oil prices dropped on that word, which is it's oil closed at a low, but they'll be back up. And Biden, basically, as the other day Biden released 2.5. What was it 2.5 days ago? He released I forget how many barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Which, by the way, it is not meant. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve is not there because of bad policies like shutting down fracking, shutting down the XL pipeline, stopping drilling not allowing for drilling on federal lands. That is why the price of oil goes up. And the solution is not pulling oil out of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, because that's actually for national security, national interest. That's the only time to use it. I don't think this is the right time to use it. I think the way you offset the high price of OPEC oil is we drill, baby, drill, as Sarah Palin once coined that phrase: drill, baby, drill, baby, drill. We need to do all the above, just like, I feel a lot of people complain about transportation like traffic. I'm for all the above solutions for transportation. I think the same thing with energy. We need to do more fracking, more drilling. We need to drill in Anwar. We need to drill on every piece of land we can drill on possibly. We were energy independent until Brandon became president, and I think we need to go back to the policies of President Trump, where we're drilling for oil, and that makes us energy independent. I think it's very naive and dim-witted of the administration to think that OPEC's going to play ball. OPEC wants these higher prices of gas. They were, the price of crude fell when we were drilling and fracking, became energy independent because the demand was not there anymore because of us. And then at the beginning of COVID, when the price of oil dropped below $1, I mean, it was like negative, where the gas stations have been giving away the gas, and part of the all above is, we could do hydrogen fuel cell cars. Toyota has a hydrogen fuel cell car they're selling now for the Miura or Moroni or Miura or something like that. It's a hydrogen fuel cell car. Great car. I just saw some reviews on it. Then you got the EVs that General Motors is doing. We talked about that briefly last week. And we need to be energy independent. That's how we get to energy independence. We don't get to energy independence by being dependent on crude oil from the Middle East and mandating using these EVs that are way out of the price range for the average person. You know.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see a bounce back Monday, but still, because from what I'm hearing today is that the Black Friday sales were really good, really robust. People are buying, and people are buying because one, they don't want to be even procrastinators like me. I'm famous for like going out like the week before Christmas to do my Christmas shopping and stuff like that. Even I did a good chunk of it, got a good chunk of it out of the way today, and actually started prior to this even. For shopping for Christmas and so on. There's the supply chain crunch. That's a big deal, and that's part of the that's also part of the reason why the market kind of took a nosedive. In addition to other factors like the new South African variant that's out there, which they say the vaccines don't work on, which is kind of crazy.
We're seeing a tumble in a lot of the comments. I guess going back to this release of the oil, some oil, whatever, the 50 million gallons, whatever the oil reserve. Part of me just like I was reading somewhere about the trillions of dollars. If you go from like the Bush years, or you look at the Trump tax cuts, and you look at like the Biden stimulus and Obama stimulus, the amount of the trillions of dollars that have kind of come out magically from the federal government, from either Democratic or Republican presidencies, and yet the love is still not there from the American public. We still are very distrustful of politicians. We still don't like the other half. Like one side doesn't like the other. It doesn't really quite move the needle. So, like, I guess my question is like, what really is the incentive to doing this stuff? Like, I mean, it's almost like putting a Band-Aid on an ever-growing wound here, because yes, you release 50 million barrels from oil for the reserve, you reduce down the prices a certain fold, you still don't get the love from the public. So why do it?
Well, actually, if you ask me, it's more than just that. I think it's more of the fact that it's, as to quote Sarah Palin again, it's putting lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. This is not. We're not gonna. It's not gonna drop the price of oil more than maybe a nickel at best. Releasing all this oil. What will take us back down to the good old days when that mean tweeter was in the White House, President Trump, is we need to drill, drill, drill. We can't not drill, frankly. And that's, I mean, this guy is, he doesn't want to raise interest rates. Inflation is going through the roof. He was out in his Nantucket bunker, where where most he was in a home that most Americans who voted for him probably couldn't afford to stay. Or many Americans can't afford to stay where he stayed. I think Joe Biden, has a tinny ear of this. I mean, they're saying the inflation is not that bad. I mean, what planet are they living on? I mean, when you go, this year's Thanksgiving dinner was 26% higher than it was last year, I believe, is what the numbers are now coming in.
The interesting thing I'll say this too is that one of the things I have against Democrats is that they'll speak out of both sides of the mouth, meaning that on one side they'll say how they need to be, need to give shelter to the homeless, they need to take care of the environment, they need to do all these things that are good for everyone. But then on the other side, they don't really put in the hard work to make those programs a reality, either from an energy standpoint or from a housing standpoint or whatever. So it's like they say all the right words that people like to hear, but they never follow through. And that's my biggest complaint is that, everyone thinks that we have some serious problems, but, we need to really, deal with them. And yes, I agree that, oil and, the non-renewables is a finite resource. We're not going to have these forever. But the point is, we don't have a better solution at the moment. We need to be investing in that. I agree that we need to be doing that. But and that's, I think, a problem on both sides. But that being said, the reason that we have such a high oil price is because OPEC and others know that the Biden administration does not want to stir up our own reserves. We're not going to, as Dwight says, we're not going to drill. We're not going to exploit our own natural resources in the U.S. to to go after the OPEC and compete with them. So we're basically a captive market. And if you look at other countries that don't have their own internal oil reserves, like Europe, I mean, they've been dealing with high oil prices for years and years and years. I mean, we think it's bad here. Try buying gas in other countries.
Yep.
It's even worse. So again, this is what happens if we don't have, if countries don't have ways to push back on OPEC because they're setting the prices. So again, if we're not going to say yes, if we're not going to pull the trigger, so to speak, and use our own oil reserves and own resources, then we're going to be part of the same problem. We're going to have oil prices just go up exponentially because, why not? We don't have any other sources for that. So, I don't know. It's, again, we're in a bad situation, and I think it's kind of on both sides that we don't have strategic initiatives for new energy resources. We need to be investing in long-term energy strategies, not just like I said, obviously we need to deal with these short-term issues, but from a long-term, we need to be thinking about really future energy sources like next-gen fission. I know we're working on some fusion stuff, but that's still many, 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 many years off, if anytime soon at all. I mean, that's they always say it's like 30 years off, so don't expect that to come around the bend anytime soon. But we do have other clean energy sources besides wind and solar that we can consider, but it requires significant investment and commitment to really get behind. And that is something that if we just need to understand that if that is the only choice at this point. If we don't want to deal with oil, we have to think about next gen nuclear because that is really the only option that's going to get us into the next generation. So.
And you're an expert on this, so I'm going to bring you in on this topic. I know we didn't, but you've got Hunter Biden facilitated sale of one of the world's largest cobalt mines to China in Africa. I mean, where's the outrage? It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, cobalt is one of the materials that's used for, cobalt steel, and it's used for hard drives. Obviously, we're going more solid state nowadays, but cobalt is one of the ingredients that's used for making the hard drive platters. I'm not sure what else cobalt is used for, but, China already has the strategic, kind of their own reserves for minerals, and they have their own policy on, how to corner the market, so to speak, on certain rare earths and other types of materials. And we don't need to be helping them when it comes to giving them more resources. We need to be developing our own resources. And I've talked about in our own discussions before how the U.S. really needs to develop their own independence from China when it comes to mineral resources, technology resources, manufacturing resources. We are too dependent upon China, and that is just something that's going to continue to get worse. And just like how we're dependent upon OPEC for oil, it's going to be the same thing with China. We're going to be dependent upon them. They're going to set the prices. They're going to, we think it's bad getting supplies now for chips. When China takes over Taiwan, it's going to be impossible to work around China. We're not going to have any options at all.
And cobalt's also used in everything from manufacturing airbags for cars to, various. They use it in a process for chip manufacturing. So it's significant, frankly. The fact that every newspaper in the country, with the exception of a handful of them, have basically swept this story under the rug, and they all say his fraudulency had no idea about this happening, during, under his watch when he was vice president, when this all went down. And this is the problem with the overall, I want to say there's a problem with the Democrats and their administration. It was like this under Obama, who basically bowed down to the Chi-Coms, and it's resumed with Joe Biden, who says he's old friends with the Chinese premier. and that's why we get things like if Senator McCarthy were around today, they'd say Joe Biden is being soft on communism, and he is.
So I know
You
it's
know.
not WHO, but what's the NATO equivalent? Or no, not the NATO, but like the Economic World Organization for agreements that China's in. I can't.
You got that's the pack. It's the Pacific Rim countries, and they actually kicked out China from that, from what I understand. For
I was gonna say that
their
was under Obama. I know that was something that was a big deal. Was that China was supposed to have more um, equitable trade
yeah
with us and other countries, but that really never came out to be the case.
yeah
China. Again, China has their own interests at mind. In every country is welcome to, you know,
yeah
be concerned with their own interest. But the problem is that, you know, as Americans, we can't rely upon China for certain resources. Like I said, I think right now we're just over reliant upon them, even for agricultural resources. I mean, we get a lot of food from China, which again, why wouldn't we just do it locally?
hmm
But it's cheaper, literally cheaper to get food from China than it is domestically. So of course we do it because it's the cheapest route. But it's kind of like they'll get our interest, they'll get our infrastructure dependent upon them at the cheaper price, and then once we basically drive our own resources, because we said, well, we've been using China so long, then we have nothing ourselves to fall back on when China starts increasing the price. So
yeah
it's been the
and
story with chip manufacturing. It's been the story with other types of products where we don't have our own industry anymore for competing with China. So we have to get it from China, or we don't have it. And the American appetite for technology and such is such that we right now, if we were to say we're going to break all trade off with China, it would hurt us more than it hurts China.
yeah. It's like if you look at it now, right? We've got as a result, we're seeing shortages of iPhone 13s. They're harder to get. We're having problems getting all sorts of like there's because of the chip shortage, General Motors has eliminated heated seats in some of their cars. I think that's part of the reason why Hummer EV is not going to be around until 2024. Originally, I would have been able to pick. Originally, the estimate was spring of 2022. I could have gotten the. Then they moved it to late 2022. Then it was 2023, and now it's 2024 for the EV SUV Hummer by by GMC, and that is one of the that's all because of this chip shortage, and there aren't a lot of chips that are sitting on those ships. I think that are coming here. There might be, but I think the fact that there's no coherent policy from this administration on how to address the digital needs of the country. Frankly, why don't we have we're dependent on these chips in our advanced fighters, our drones. Are we really seeding on this much? We never would have done this uh, prior to Obama Biden regime, ceding so much power to our enemies. Basically, China is the new evil empire. I'll say it. They're the evil empire.
Well, in the same way that OPEC is for oil. I mean, again, evil is a matter of perspective. It's their own. They're very nationalistic and they have their own interests.
Mhm.
And again, it's not necessarily my place to judge everybody else, but it's certainly not in our interest to continue along this path, and it hasn't been for a long time. It's been only in our interest in the sense that the American people like cheap goods.
Yeah,
That
and
the
I'm
whole
a, yeah.
like Made in America program was like, well, it costs more for American goods, but it's made in America. Now it's
Mhm.
like, people just, I mean, it sounds good, but people ultimately want cheap goods.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
look
why
at
that's why you
it's
have
kind of
Walmart as opposed to like the mom and pop shops. That's why you have, the Amazons as opposed to, the old Barnes and Noble bookstores and such, because, it's just cheaper to consolidate everything into these mega resources.
yeah, and
Um,
even before the Barnes and Nobles and Borders, which is no longer with us. Borders was a great store, by the way. I
yeah,
really enjoyed them. But there was also other bookstores like Sidney Kramer's. You had Crown Books. You had
Tower Records.
Trover. Yeah, Trovers. Yeah, Tower Records. I believe there was a movie made about it called Empire Records, just based on Tower Records. Basically, there was supposed to, Empire Records was supposed to be like Tower Records, record store back when. I'm pretty sure we used to listen to music on records.
I heard.
And there were these. Then we went to these. Then we went to these things here, which is funny. Is then we started listening to music on these things.
What is that?
That's a CD.
Oh, I'm joking. I know. And
then
like,
now we listen to music on digitally streamed across the internets, And I think one of the music sounds so much better on a CD than I think it does digitally, And when I owned the music, whether it be a record or a CD or even a cassette tape, that's even before your time, cassette tapes. Those are these little tapes, you could record music on them. But those were and I think that was better because, one, I owned that music, while digital music, they could just arbitrarily decide tomorrow, oh, we're going to raise the price, and all of you that bought it, now you got to buy it again and at this higher rate, You don't really own the music, you're just renting it, for all intents and purposes.
Well, that's been a problem for a while. Even Dwight, to your point, it's like even from a compact disc, it wasn't considered that you really owned the music. I mean, you kind of owned the that recording of it, but if you really owned the music, then getting a replacement disc because it was scratched up wouldn't cost you anything because the discs cost nothing. But when you had to replace a compact disc because it was scratched up, you had to pay the full album price again, regardless of the fact that you owned the music, because again, it was just the media that was damaged. So it's never like I don't want to put too much of a golden sheen on the old days. It was never perfect because the RIAA and the MPAA always had their own interests at heart from the beginning. But the point is, that
this is a great CD, by the way. They have it on YouTube. You can listen to it.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, those things have evolved, and I still like vinyl records because just the nostalgia of those. But regardless, it's the point is that we have given up a lot of our rights for convenience. So
it's like
music is a lot more convenient than having carrying CDs around. Because I remember, Dwight, as you probably do, having cars that you'd have like a whole CD pack. You just listen to different CDs on the way. Now it's like you hook up your iPad or iPhone, and you just stream it from your device. It's so much easier. I mean, I love the convenience of it, but again, it's just how we've traded our our rights in terms of media for the convenience of just having it everywhere. So
can I rant a little bit about since we're talking about music, Christmas music. I've never seen a holiday that holds people hostage like this holiday, and for 3 weeks, for the next 4 weeks, I have to listen to this damn music of these people who I don't want to hear. I've heard these songs a million times. If you remember a few years back with there's some song that they accused the song being about sexual harassment or something.
Yes, that was a classic.
Maybe It's Cold Outside or something.
Yes.
I totally echoed what the leftists were saying, not because of the song's lyrics. I just didn't want to hear the song anymore. I hate all Christmas music. It is.
Have you heard Christmas Eve in Washington? Have you heard that? That is a great song.
I will never ever go to coffee shops. I can't go inside and sit at coffee shops during this period of time because I'm literally forcibly banned from it because it's haunting music that's blaring in the background. It's supposed to get me in this crazy mood to watch Dolly Parton movies or some stupid thing. And it is, I've never seen a holiday that holds people hostage in 4 weeks. And yesterday, of course, during Thanksgiving, somebody decided, well, let's play some Christmas music to get us in the. No, there is no spirit of with Christmas music. Native Americans didn't blast Christmas music. The Pilgrims didn't have it. It is Sorry, that's my old rant.
Well, here's the thing. It's like the Maryland state song.
No.
Yes, and they banned that.
Maryland. Oh, that's right. We don't have it. Thanks to the Democrats, we don't have a state song. But we used to have a state song. It was called Maryland by Maryland, based on Old Tannenbaum. You know, the state song of Michigan is also, they used the melody of Old Tannenbaums as well.
Oh, Maryland, oh,
Yeah, I mean it's a great song. You know, it's like I don't know why they don't want to. Why they wouldn't want us to have that? You know, like
They should ban Christmas music.
it's part of the whole whitewashing of history. You know, and you know, I can't believe you don't. You do, have you ever heard Christmas Eve in Washington? By the way,
No, I don't like
it is
anything related.
it is a great song. You hear it every so often, you know, and here I've got something for you. It's like, yeah, last year when we did our the Maryland GOP did their video, and they did their whole what do you call it? They did a whole thing on where people around the state, you know, here, let me show you. Let me just share my screen. Hold on a second.
I remember the virtual holiday party they had last year, where everyone's featuring their little like silly ass cats and dogs, which is like painful to watch.
Okay, that's Manhunt Steamroller.
There we go.
It's kind of funny. Somebody commented, I was looking at my watch.
I can't hear it though.
Can you not hear it?
No.
Okay, I'm going to share this link with you and all of our fans. We're going to do this again this year too. So.
Well, they're not doing it virtually again, are they?
No, it's going to be in person.
Okay.
But some things, you know, we like doing these sort of things. You know, here it is. And I'm going to share this in our, everybody take a listen to it. I'm going to put it out on our YouTube. Yeah, but it's a great, DC has their own Christmas song. I mean, that's, I mean, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of Christmas carols, Christmas songs, you know. Yeah, but I think, you know, they got this one okay. You know, I also like I used to like the Springsteen Santa Claus Coming Town, but then it gets a little it gets old after you hear it 3 times in a day, and it's kind of like Monster Mash. After a while, you get sick of listening to it.
Yes. See, that song is limited. That song, it's played once a year, and no one really wants to.
Yes, that and Werewolves of London.
I don't think I've heard. Well, I probably have heard it, but
You have not heard Werewolves of London?
I think I probably have. I just prefer.
They don't get much music in Idaho, do they?
We don't. We try. I mean, Christmas music apparently is like readily apparent. It is everywhere. But I don't understand. Like, there's so much dynamism in this country. There's so much dynamism to there's so much creativity embedded in this country, in the history of this country, so much diversity.
Mm-hmm.
We could do better. I think we could do so much better in terms of how we celebrate our holidays. For example, there is a great tradition, the Mexican tradition, posadas, which you recreate Joseph and Mary, and you go caroling from house to house. But usually it's one house that hosts it every night, or a different house every night. Half the crowd goes inside the house, half the crowd goes outside. Usually it's women, and then there's a group of guys just drinking tequila on the outskirts, which is absolutely fun. These old ladies can sing and these like little Christmas religious caroling songs, and the guys just drink tequila. And at the end of the day, we're all drunk and happy. And I think it's a great way to celebrate Christmas. But we can't seem to do that, and we're beholden to like it's cold outside and these crazy songs from like Bing Crosby. Who cares about this stuff? It's old. It's gone. Let it go. Let it die.
Well, you know, look, you know, like I said, I'm not a fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas carols, frankly, in general. But I do think, you know, a lot of these. Yeah, but I know there's some people that just really absolutely love Christmas. Yeah, I don't know if you know who Larry King is, but Larry King used to play Christmas carols in July.
And he's now dead.
And he was Jewish. And he was Jewish too. which is but he would play Christmas
He was
carols.
also, he was also married
This,
8 times. That's probably why the 7 wives did not want to deal with that.
but
Probably
no,
strangled them.
my point is there are people out there that do love Christmas carols and Christmas songs and Christmas music and Christmas cookies and Christmas punch and
For
I guess
sure, because as I was saying before, it's to them it means something. It's like every holiday means something different to everyone based upon their own, life experiences and such. So, it could be that Arbor Day means something special to somebody. I mean, I don't know, but
yes, to all the environmental lefties, Arbor Day is the day they all worship the trees.
right. The point is that again, Christmas. The spirit of Christmas. We talk about that. It's like there is a good like communal feeling of this. Like this is a time of like again, there's many holidays that celebrate around that time. Many religions, I should say, that celebrate around that time. And so whether you believe in the Jewish religion or Christian or other religions, they all they have their own special times in that time of year, and it's a very similar message. So again, I think it's just one of those things that just naturally it's kind of coming together where we can put aside a lot of our differences and realize that really we're all in this this world together, and that we should share what we have with each other. And so again, on a practical level, yeah, there's a whole lot of things that I don't like about the commercialization of this time of year, where you can't get away from the Christmas music. I mean, I personally like a lot of the Christmas music because I grew up listening to it, and so it holds a place in like memories. But when it comes to like again, I don't love crowds. I don't love the whole having to deal with like everyone has to outdo their neighbors in terms of Christmas decorations and those things. It's like I don't really care about that as much. But I enjoy, the weather. I mean, in Michigan it snows, more than it does here, so I enjoy the snow. I enjoy, just the Christmas of the air. There's a lot of things about the season I like, but again, that's just me. So I mean, I understand that not everyone shares my same, joy of it, but in general, I think that the spirit says a lot about, what it's trying to convey. So I think people hopefully can get behind the spirit of Christmas, if not the actual celebration of it.
And
If I'm not
remember, and
mistaken, that's good.
one thing everyone should keep in mind about Christmas, it's not just about the giving; it's also about the receiving.
I'm taking.
If I'm not mistaken, like the story I guess behind the phrase "bread and circus" is that when the Roman Empire was kind of collapsing and they were offering the population bread and circus in order to entertain them and feed them. Um, this past week, and ever since I've moved to Maryland, I see Baltimore City is taking like the idea of like giving in the spirit of Christmas and taking it to like the most like insane degree where like it has been like turkey giveaways and ham giveaways every other day for different groups. Now it's devolved into school supply giveaways. No one's pushing for sustainable policies. No one's pushing for accountability and responsiveness in government. They're just pushing for these literally bread and circus. It's like we're going to entertain them. We're going to play some great music during the summer and have these little community, music festivals. And then we're going to also offer free book bags for back to school supplies, and we're going to offer free ham and free turkeys, and everyone's going to be happy. And it is the dumbest, like most insane thing I've ever seen. I'm like, I never thought I would ever find myself. I'm a pretty staunch Catholic guy, social justice kind of guy. I never thought I would ever be opposed to turkey giveaways. And I find myself, the more I see it more and more, the lack of accountability, the fact that we're just giving out hams and turkeys and without ever trying to say that we really demand a better authority in the city, it's just insane. I just think it's just like it's bread and circus.
Yeah, it is. But here's the thing, it is, it's like we've got a Christmas party we're doing a week from this Sunday, December 5th, in Rockville, right? It's done by the Montgomery County Roll Club, the Maryland Republican Jewish Council, the Maryland Republican Party, and the Maryland Republican Women's Federation. And we've got some great host committee members like Gary and Ann Bays, Governor Bob and Kendall Ehrlich. a number of other notable folks, right? And it's a Toys for Tots party. This is the 10th year we've been doing this. We collect toys for the U.S. Marine Corps Toys for Tots, and I think over the last 10 years we've probably raised over 10,000 toys for this charity. And it's not a fundraiser. We're not even collecting money. The only reason we have a host committee this year is because of our county executive who has a mask on, mask off policy on a whim. We decided let's do it at a hotel. And that's the only reason we're actually asking for contributions for people to be on our host committee is because of that. Thank you, Mark Elric. And we've got what we needed. So we've kind of stopped pushing that function of host committee members. But it's always, we always have a great turnout. We probably have over 300 people that come to the party. We collect a ton of toys, and I think it's a good thing to do as Republicans. I'm not saying let's just give away, let's just be like the Democrats and start doling out the pork, But I think, around the holiday times, the Christmas, doing the toys collection and doing, we even like doing, collecting for the home, like, what do you call, we like, doing soup drives. I mean, that's one thing we used to do when we were in high school student government. And that was and I enjoyed doing that. Collecting cans. We did that. We used to do that for Thanksgiving. We collect cans. Our history class decided instead of collecting cans, we're just going to collect money from everybody in the class. And we ended up with a couple $100 from our class. And other folks at student government were not too happy about that. They're saying we can give you, and this goes back to 1989. I'm pretty sure. So they're saying we can credit you 10 cans for every dollar you raised. And then my friend Olivia, she goes, well, why don't we just put $20? We can put $20 in every basket that we're putting together. Goes, what if the family needs to buy cough syrup for the kid? They don't need the extra cans, but they need to buy cough syrup. So I go, do whatever you want to do. We raise the money. It's like, but I mean, it's a good thing for Republicans to do. It's good things for humans to do. It's not a Republican or a Democrat thing. By the way, the Democrat Party in Montgomery County has never done a Toys for Tots drive. They've never helped the Marine Corps Toys for Tots campaign. They're just a bunch of heartless, greedy folks who just want to raise money to fill their war chests to build up for the communist empire.
I think the charities like Toys for Tots, they have been around for a long time. They do great work. I think it's great. It's great to not reinvent the wheel and work with these institutions that have been there for a while. I'm not, no doubt, Christmas is a good time to give. I just like the fact that it's been extended into so many different permutations in at least in Baltimore City, where you see back to school drives and you see summer attire, winter coat drives and summer shorts drives. I'm like, my God, it's just again, nobody's accountable. No one is held accountable here, I'm saying this as somebody who benefited from a lot of these charities as well. When I was growing up, Toys for Tots was the only toys that we got that was not from the dollar store. So I am appreciative of this stuff, but I think
that's another thing I do want to let people who do come. I mean, it's great that you guys bring toys. There's a reason we ask for $20 or a toy. Don't go to the dollar store and buy a dollar toy and come to our. I hate to say it, but you don't want to be that guy. I mean, you can buy 20 toys from the dollar store, and that's fine. But although thanks to Brandon, dollar stores aren't going to be $1 much longer than the $1.25 store.
so we can't bring snow globes. I can take it.
No, you can. It's like it's funny. We did a white elephant party at one of the places I do business, right? And hold on. Yeah. But anyways, so what I was thinking is we could do. Lost my train of thought there. But we should. I mean, it's a time for giving and receiving. It's And I think, by the way, also the Maryland Republican Party has their Christmas party Saturday the 16th at the home of the wonderful and lovely Nicola Ambrose in Baltimore City. Look at that. Republicans aren't afraid to go into Baltimore City. We've been there. We go there. It's a lot of fun. Everyone should come.
Not watching.
And you go to mdgop.org and get more details on the MDGOP's Christmas party at the home of Nicola Ambrose. Great event. She always has, great guests there. I think this year Congressman Harris will be there, I believe. I think he is. But you have to show up to find out who's really there. There's always one or two surprise guests who are not mentioned, but you get some really high-profile folks there. One year I went there, and Roscoe Bartlett just sort of showed up, So you never know who's going to be there at Nicola's party. So you got to come. Tickets are relatively insanely cheap, So, but that's that, and we've gone into extra meetings by 10 minutes. So let's just do final thoughts, unless we have any. Unless Breacher, you have any other stuff to say about holiday bashing?
Holiday bashing like curmudgeon film. I think the final thought for me, I guess
it's multiple thoughts. You can have more than one thought.
Kind of a Maryland focused thing. I think we had a slight endorsement this past week. Came for some gubernatorial candidate, and I think it's been a kind of interesting to see the reaction from folks. Some folks are basically saying it's not going to matter. I think something I've been reading about that it does matter. I think an endorsement does matter from a certain former president. I don't really know where it's going, but
here's the thing. Let me just touch on this briefly. 10 years ago, we had more than 11 years ago, we had a race for governor. There was a primary, and Sarah Palin endorsed the other guy, but Governor Orlick still won the primary handedly. And as for if I was going to get an endorsement, Thanksgiving week is not when I'd want an endorsement coming out for me. I'd want it to come out like when people are not rushing to go over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house,
True. I mean, it's the timing. I'm just saying. I don't think that I don't really know where the direction of this type of endorsement goes.
Well, honestly, when that first time I saw the endorsement, because Kelly Schultz's name was misspelled, and I'm like, is this real or is this like some forgery cooked up by this other campaign? But it was legit. But when you see something that's misspelled or something, that's the knee-jerk reaction you get. Is like, oh my God, is this a forgery?
There was a lot of things that should have not been capitalized that were capitalized as well. So I think the imperfection is almost is a signature of the former president campaign. But I think it's so. I just say that I think I wouldn't dismiss it so easily. I think it's very easy for everyone just seem to think it's just it's a flash in the pan. It's not really going to matter. I do think I was reminded yesterday about how many folks were grateful that we were meeting in person, because last year they had the snitch line of you couldn't have more than 10 people at your house, and if you did, you should call the cops on your neighbors. I think that really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. I completely forgot about that, and a lot of people were reminding me about how bad it was, and I was here. But I was just thinking I don't know how many people will be like me and just forgot about it, or how many people just still carry that grievance and say, hey, enough's enough. We don't want any more of this kind of, we're conservative until we're not. So hopefully we'll see something. So,
very true.
It's the most non-prediction you can possibly say. I just say that all I'm saying is that I think this endorsement is going to matter somewhat. I don't know how much it's going to matter. And I think,
well, I think here's the thing. Okay. Let's just be blunt, Okay. Would you rather have someone that's a Republican 75% of the time and win, or would you like to have a Republican that's 100% of the time Republican but can't win the general election?
But see, that's the common thing that we constantly hear, and we heard the same thing with Trump, right? We heard the same thing with where he said, we should
remember President Trump did not win Maryland in 16, nor did he win it in 18.
True.
Maryland Republican. Let me tell you,
Many
Larry Hogan has, I don't agree with Larry Hogan 100% of the time. I mean, I disagree with him profusely sometimes, many a times. The fact that he doesn't want to frack in Western Maryland really irritated me. But here's the thing: I'd rather have him than Ben Jealous. I'd rather have him than what's his name, Anthony Brown, who's now running for Attorney General. It comes down to, Kelly Schultz, by the way, is a lot more conservative than Governor Hogan.
Yeah.
Kelly Schultz had a higher rating as a conservative voting record than her opponents. So I'm very comfortable supporting Kelly Schultz for governor, frankly. She's got an unbelievable story, and she can continue the progress that's been made by Larry Hogan. All you Hogan haters out there, and I understand where you guys come from, you Hogan haters, but here's the thing: would you rather have Ben Jealous be governor or Larry Hogan? I think your answer is going to be Larry Hogan. Even though
I wouldn't count myself as a Hogan hater. I will say that there is, much like I said this during the Trump years, like Peggy Noonan, who got the Pulitzer Prize in 2016 for writing about the anger, the deep-seated anger that people had towards the Obama administration, of being called like idiots, racist, dumb, rednecks. And they showed up in droves, and they showed up and they voted this crazy, irreverent, very rude, crude man to be the nominee to beat senators and governors, and then to nominate him and then to beat him in the general election. I think what she showed is that, like, you can't underestimate how much anger is out there, and I think there's something about. I'm not saying I have a pulse on things here either, but I'm just saying that there is a lot of resentment, a lot of anger out there. That I wouldn't quite think that, like, it's simply saying, well, Kelly Schultz is more winnable than the other guy because she's following a path that's been done by a previous governor. I do think that there are a lot of things that have changed, that some people there's a lot of anger that I think we have not really quite seen. And that I'm increasingly starting to be more exposed to it. I'm like myself, just on an everyday basis, which is talking to people. And it is surprising to see how much anger is out there, how much frustration with
But
COVID.
here's the thing: anger doesn't win elections. I'm old enough to remember the Dole campaign of '96, where America was angry. That's why Bill Clinton was going to lose. And I got swept up in that too a little. I was really excited about seeing a President Bob Dole, and actually I was more excited seeing a Vice President Jack Kemp. But because we know Jack Kemp would have been running the show anyways. Bob Dole would have been like, basically letting Jack do most of the running, and Jack would have been president and would run for president in 2000. But you can't always get what you want. But here's at the end of the day, I think it comes down to this: people need to get over it, and unless they're ready to pay higher taxes. I mean, let me be blunt. I'll move to Florida if Kelly Schultz is not, if the Republicans don't win in November. If say we have Governor Perez, I'm moving to Florida. And you folks here will be stuck with having a high tax. Go back to the Martin O'Malley days. Do you really miss those Martin O'Malley days? We need to line up behind whoever our primary winner is, so we can get them elected. And I think the best person for the job is Kelly Schultz. Frankly, let's start. It's about time. Marylanders vote for a woman for governor. So
Right. It would be, yeah. I mean, we'll see how they. I just, my only takeaway is just I think we should not underestimate how much anger and frustration is out there.
Yes, and I don't know I don't get where this frustration has come from. Larry Hogan has nothing to do with inflation. Larry Hogan has nothing to do with the problem that is happening. Frankly, yes, there was legitimate reasons to be angry with Larry Hogan, but I mean, honestly, are you better off today than you were 8 years ago? And the answer is yes, and you'll vote for you'll vote for the Republican.
It was several years ago that Newt Gingrich was being asked in CNN in an interview about immigration. They were showing them the stats that immigration is going down. Why are you talking about immigration being such a hot topic issue? This is like years ago when the numbers actually were going down. And he said the most honest thing I've ever heard in politics. He said, it's not so much what the numbers are, or what the facts are, it's what the perceptions of those facts are.
Mhm.
And the reality is, I think the perception, I think from the Republican base, is that the lockdowns, like it's funny because Maryland's not a big state, so if you just cross, if you go into like Pennsylvania, you see how much more the lockdowns could have been extended, and how much more the mask mandates could have been extended, and so forth. Like, but and the wisdom of Larry Hogan to actually get things done in a certain way, but but the anger is so palpable there. I'm telling you, there's so much anger and frustration. I wonder whether the Republican electorate could actually support somebody who was like at least nominally. And the reality is, I think it's a bit unfair to Kelly Schultz, because I think Kelly Schultz should have been a little bit more independent in her own right, as opposed to being kind of propped up by a sitting governor and a state party. But whatever the case is, I mean, I just say that like we'll see what happens. I think the endorsement, I wouldn't dismiss the endorsement as just some random flash in the pan kind of thing. I also wouldn't dismiss the little pockets of resent that are around the state, from Democrats and Republicans. And I think the lockdowns, and I think the mask mandates, the kind of little like issues that are kind of burgeoning there. I think we saw it, and who would have thought Loudoun County would have voted the way they did? Who would have thought that these cultural issues would have permeated in Northern Virginia? Right? So that is my comment.
Thank you, Breacher. Jeff, final thoughts.
Yeah, so I don't have anything quite as deep. I just want to say, hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving, with all Ray's issues aside. I think that this is a good holiday season. It is stressful for a lot of people. This is a time which is both kind of a blessing and a curse for a lot of people. It brings back a lot of strong emotions for people. So I would say that let's just remember those that are less fortunate than ours, those that are struggling, and let's remember that we're all in this together, and try to help out each other as best we can. And as Ray would say, Howard County is the best county in the world. So let's keep the spirit alive.
It is. Really
Do what we can to help out each other. And if you see someone in need, understand that could be us, except for situations that sometimes are out of our control. So I just encourage everyone to be thoughtful this time of year, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. My final thoughts are one. There's actually a couple of them. Actually, I've got one. Next Thursday, we got this book party with Governor Ehrlich in Kensington, Maryland. Tickets are selling fast. We have a handful of tickets left. You can come there and meet Dr. Breacher in person. I believe Dr. Breacher is attending, and you can meet a bunch of other doctors there. Dr. Trott will be there. Dr. Thornton's going to be there. You can meet the doctors and Governor Ehrlich. It's just go to MontgomeryCountyRepublic.com, and you have all the information you need for this event, as well as our Christmas party, which is December 5th at the Rockville Sheraton on King Farm Boulevard in wonderful Rockville, Maryland. Everybody, it's a free event. All we ask is you bring an unwrapped toy or give $20, not to us, to the United States Marine Corps Toys for Tots campaign. You are not allowed to make the check out to Montgomery County Rumble Club. So it'll be a lot of fun. There'll be some candidates. There'll be a candidate running for comptroller and governor and attorney general there as well as a number of other luminaries in the Republican Party in the great state of Maryland. So I think it's well worth coming on out for that. It's always the event of the season, so to speak. And then a week later, you have the Maryland Republican Party's Christmas party at the home of the lovely and talented Nicola Ambrose in Baltimore City. You can find out about that on Maryland Republican MDGOP.org. And we'd love to see you guys. And I believe the Young Republicans have a party on Friday the 15th. No,
17th.
17th.
Friday the 17th at Charles Village and Pub, right in downtown Towson, right in the heart of all the clubs and bars. So the party gets kind of boring. You can always skip out to another bar. It won't be boring because it's open bar.
And the Montgomery County Young Republicans have a Christmas party on the 16th at the Rock Bottom Brewery.
Yeah, I think
actually it's a holiday party, I should say, not a Christmas party.
I think all three of them might actually join us on the at the YR one in
Yeah,
town.
the YRs are co-sponsors of our Christmas Toys Party.
At the YR.
The Sheraton, the Rocco Sheraton.
No, I'm saying that the YR Montgomery one. I think it's all three YRs from Montgomery County are going to join the YRs in 2000. I think. From my understanding, there's not any Republicans in Montgomery County.
There's actually
I'm just jabbing at Montgomery.
they got more Republicans in Howard County, probably. Just letting you know.
It's the greatest county in the world. Every one of us counts so much more.
I mean, I can't argue. I mean, your county is great because you don't have a mask mandate.
That's true. It's true. Actually, we had a lot of you guys come out last Christmas here to Howard County because you guys were on lockdowns for your bars and restaurants. So we had nothing here. We had 50% capacity or something. So I remember a lot of Montgomery County people coming up here.
Yeah.
We escorted them back to the border to make sure they went back home. But yeah, we didn't build a wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be back next week for another exciting episode. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Hanukkah starts Sunday. Happy Hanukkah, everyone who celebrates. And we'll see everyone next week. Take care. Bye.